This workflow is going to look at a pooling simulation using Tyflow. I'm starting here with the topography, which I've generated by dragging a digital elevation model into the slate material editor. Then I've drawn a standard plane and added a displace modifier and connected the bitmap to that modifier. Then through altering the strength, that has generated this topography. So for this workflow, we need to bring up a Tyflow and open the editor. And I'm going to add a standard berth, and we want 15,000 particles. And they're going to be berthed over the first 35 frames of this simulation. I then need to specify where those particles are going to be berthed. So I'm going to add a position object. And coming into the top view, I'm going to draw a plane over the more dramatic topography so that we get some more interesting pooling effects. I can then add that selected object and come back into perspective view and erase that above the topography. So that this isn't interfering with when we're watching the simulation, I'm going to right click, Object Properties, Untick Renderable, and Display as Box. I'm then going to add a shape operand, so that changes how we're viewing these particles. Come down, 3D, low res sphere, and we just need to tell the display that they need to be viewed as geometry. We can also come back into shape and edit the scale of those so they're a little larger. Okay. Next, we're going to add some gravity. So I'm going to choose a force, and I need to set the strength to a negative value so they actually fall towards the topography. I'm going to set it to -0.3. And I'm also going to add a particle bind. That's just going to add some interaction between those particles. And we'll set the stiffness to 0.5. We also need to tell Tyflow to interact and collide with this topography. So I'm going to add a collision. And then we just need to pick the topography. You can also specify the bounds here. At the moment, that's set quite high to 25. I'm going to lower that to 8. I'm also going to add a particle physics, and that's going to specify the collisions between those particles and how they interact. So I'm going to lower that stiffness to 0.5. And finally, I'm going to add a surface force. And that's going to dictate how those particles are interacting with the topography surface. So through altering the surface here, they're either going to stick to the surface more or roll off that surface more. I'm going to leave that at 0.5 for now, and we can have a look at how that pooling takes place.